Chris Mullins, Intake Academy, and I've been working with law firms for 30 years, focusing on sales and conversion and plugging all the holes where prospective clients can leak out. So we'll say 15 clients, 3 calls each per week, listening and scoring, and let's just say over 25 years. And I say 25 years because I'm just trying to be honest. Maybe the first 5 years was no listening. It was just consulting. So it's probably more, but we'll just say that's an honest average. Probably 70% of the time. So the intake salesperson, it's awkward. So you have your intake sales specialist and they're on the phone with the prospective client and they're asking their screening questions and they're following everything that we talk about in training. They're doing a great job, empathy, everything. And then it comes time for the close and they're disappointed. They run out of gas. And the reason is because the person they're speaking to, the prospect they're speaking to wants the property damage taken care of. So they either avoid that they heard that because they don't just because they don't know what to do. Or they might say something like, we don't take care of property damage. It's not something that we do, but you can talk to one of our attorneys or our legal team members and they can try to guide you. But we don't do it for you. We don't handle it. And they might repeat that a few different times because they're uncomfortable and they don't know what to do. And they don't want to lose the sale at the same time. So that awkward nervousness, I would say probably 80% of the time, 70% of the time. We, the intake salesperson, are giving 110% Ritz-Carlton experience and closing that person that we can help them or trying to close them. And then we're promising, because we're really wearing a sales hat. So we're promising them what we've been told we can kind of help and guide with. And when it doesn't happen, one, it can make it difficult to close, or two, we can close and then it would be buyer's remorse. And buyer's remorse might happen down the road when they start to have their welcome call with the attorney and the paralegals and whatnot, because those dots won't be connected and they'll be like, oh, who said I was gonna, oh, yeah, I don't do. So that's my concern. And my other concern is intake team is the most important department in your firm. And if you don't set them up for sales success with everything that you can possibly do, you're just setting them up for failure. Now, these are the people that mention it because there's people that don't mention it on the front end, right? And they do later, and who knows what happens. But I would say the people that mention it, probably 30%. And even if it was handled eloquently, we can't say, yes, we do help. So we lose them there too. Well, you've basically done all you've spent marketing dollars out of the goodness of your heart to supply leads to your competitors. So they're just it's that minimum case value of 26,000 or whatever it is, rock bottom minimum, or maybe it's less. I mean, you just did a very nice thing for your competitor because they're gonna call your competitor. They're gonna hang up and call your competitor. 4 out of the 25 per day we lose, times 5 days a week is 20, and then 20 times 4 is 80. And then if we say 80 over a month of cases times 10,000 minimum case value, you got your number of whatever that number was. Even if you were conservative and you said, it's 20 calls and it's 25%, you're still, it's still like a crazy number. And this is an average global law firm personal injury, so it's probably worse than that. How much do I think the CEO or managing partner or attorney owner of the PI firm is thinking about property damage and OG? Are we losing business or I don't think they think about that at all at that level at all. And then the middle level, meaning like manager, supervisor, only probably when the questions come up, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to do about this? And it's not because anybody's trying to do a terrible job. That's not it. It's just that it's not on the radar as far as a revenue stream. If you're spending, $1,500 on a lead to get them to the front door, you're basically saying, I don't mind spending that money and losing it immediately. I don't mind. And I also don't mind giving my competitor across the street the case. I just don't mind. It's okay with me. I don't mind doing that at all. Over 1,000, but that's really related to private clients, just private law firm clients that I'm doing consulting and coaching and training with. But then there's thousands of calls that listening to and analyzing for call centers that provide services to law firms and other multiple ways that I would be doing it. No, no, I haven't. Because and the reason is because they're not taught to, and they're not taught to because it's not on the radar of the firm as an area that can be fixed because they don't know that there's an area that can be fixed, and now you have that solution. If you are skeptical about it, the numbers or what have you, besides doing your own numbers and your own test, let me ask you this. Do you teach your intake sales team now how to handle the property damage topic? Do you coach them on how to handle it? And are you doing something to help people with that? So if you are, if they know how to handle it and you've got them the right script and you do service that for your clients, then you're great. But if you're not doing any of that, none of that's going on, then why would you question the numbers? So when I first talk to them, before I do the evaluation of the calls and discuss that with them, I would say 90% of them are saying there really isn't anything wrong with their intake team. They really have a great team. We convert everything that we want. And we're doing a great job. We just want a little tune up. Well, the first thing is that we can feel that way. And if we feel that way, it's probably because we're not intimately involved with the team on any level. But it's not true. It's just not possible. And the other is you don't want to convert only what you want. What about all the cases that you lost because of poor salesmanship, not being able to handle property damage, not being able to control the conversation and redirect what about all of those cases there that you completely lost? Have you looked at them? Have you listened to those calls to see why you lost them? Have you looked at the transcripts? And then when they listen to the call recording, usually a week after that discussion, I have had, and it's usually the top level, senior level executive. I've had I've heard screaming and yelling, disconnecting the conversation that we're having, getting back on and apologizing for it. I've heard words that I haven't heard before, and sometimes I don't hear that, but I can see their face. It's a terrible feeling for them, and it's not a good positive moment for them. And for me, I want them to feel that if it's true. Like if it's true, if the calls really are bad, I want them to feel that. But I also want them to know that there's hope, that they're not alone, and it can be fixed. So after the introduction and the welcome, and then asking permission to ask questions in the talk step, while you're doing your screening questions, you could say something like, "Yeah, and Ms. Mullins, I also want to tell you, I've got really great news. Is you didn't mention it at all, but we're also going to help you with your property damage. So if that's in your mind at all, the back of your mind, perhaps maybe you were going to say something in a little bit. That's good news. We are going to handle that for you. We are the only law firm that does that. So let me just ask you a few more questions before I sign you up. I think it's amazing, but I'm also like, really? Really? This really works. There's really no work on my end, the law firm. This is like that much of a no-brainer. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. I don't know. Yes. True claims is not, from my standpoint, it's about It's a no-brainer because it's all about, I mean, yes, it's about servicing the client. Yes, it's great that what's really big in their mind, which is what you said to me, I think today, all they're thinking, most of them are thinking about their property damage, even though they might have terrible injuries. And we're thinking about the injuries. And so that's why these things aren't connecting. So yes, it's amazing and wonderful to take care of that for them. 100%, 100%. But the real value here is all of the cases, all the people you can help, all the cases that you're losing now, you won't lose them anymore. All the people that you said in your marketing that we can do it all, you can actually do it all now. You can actually help all of them now. And at the same time, they get to take care of their property damage and not worry about it. But it's like a no-brainer place to be.